What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome to episode number 9 of the Spun Today podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Thank you very much for listening. It's, what's today's date? December 28th, Sunday. This podcast is going to come out on Thursday like it normally does. But it's just after Christmas, and I hope you guys had a happy and healthy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, happy Festivus, whatever it is that traditionally you're into. I definitely had a good one. Spent time with the family, and definitely a big shout out to one of the set of gifts that I received, which actually I'm recording from right now, which is a mini podcast studio setup. Shout out to my roomie Raul and sister-in-law Julie, and of course my girl Zoila. And thank you very much for them. They got me one of those Behringer mixing sets, and like the microphone arm. The Behringer set comes with the mixer. The headset, microphone. My girl got me the arm and the microphone pop filter to avoid you guys listening to and hearing annoying pop sounds and stuff like that. We'll see if it actually works, if it's effective. But to me, it just looks cool as shit. It's like looks kind of professional and all that. So thank you again very much to them. And again, hope everything went well for you guys. And today I don't have another short story or interview set up for you guys. If you guys missed the past 2 episodes, episode number 7 and number 8 was part of a 2-part not interview, conversation with my older brother David, which just had his first daughter, Emma. She's going to be 2 months old this month, or is actually 2 months old as of yesterday. And the first episode, number 7, was just a conversation with him that we recorded prior to her being born, of what he expects and stuff like that, out of fatherhood and becoming a parent. And episode number 8, which came out a couple weeks after, we recorded after she was born, and just to have the contrasting view of actually being a father. And what that whole experience is like. So those are 2 listens that you guys should go back and check out if you haven't already. And this episode is going to be another free writing session. I believe episode number 5 was a free writing session where I just read from a section of my website, spuntoday.com/free writing, where I pretty much take a quote, could be from a book, a song, like a lyric or something like that, that inspired me to free write, or to that resonated with me in some way, shape, or form, and that made me want to write something about it, or that just inspired me to free write. Free writing, for those of you that haven't heard any of the previous episodes, is one of my favorite types of writing. I'm not sure if it actually fits into a specific genre, like a romance novel or suspense or like something like that, but just free writing in general. I like to do it. It helps me like reflect and just get thoughts out and ideas and stuff like that, and I always encourage people to try it. It's like therapeutic in that sense. So sometimes I hear shit or read something, and it just like makes me want to write. It like inspires me to write for whatever reason. And of course, it doesn't have to specifically be about writing or anything like that. It just like sparks something within you that makes you that pushes you to want to do something. And for me, that's free writing. So there's a section of my website again, spuntoday.com/free writing, where I have these like blog posts of different free writings that I've done. I do them pen and paper in like notebooks, and then I just transcribe them onto the website, and I post the actual date that I like physically wrote them out, and obviously the posted on the blog date is there as well, just to give you guys like a frame of reference. And the writing in red is actually a link. Like most of the writing that's or the text rather throughout the website that's in red is actually a link that you can click on. In this case, for these free writing posts, the text that's in red is the quote of the book or song that you can actually click on, and it'll take you to either Amazon or iTunes, where that song and or book that the quote is from could be found, or like a YouTube link if it comes from like a video or whatever. And so that's completely sourced. And then the text underneath in blue is just my freely written thoughts on, reflecting on that quote that inspired me to do the free writing in the first place. So if you guys want to check it out after listening to this, or while you listen to this and read along or whatever, obviously you have that option. And I haven't gone over like every post that I've put there. When I do these free writing episodes for the podcast, I pick and choose a couple that I feel like going over, and there's more on there that I might get to in the future, or if I don't, either way, they'll always be there for you guys to read. Just took a sip of my water there. Sorry for that sound. And we'll get to that in a bit. I just had a couple notes here that I wanted to touch on in this little intro section. Something that I saw this past week, not this weekend, the weekend before. When I came back from vacation, I was actually in DR with my girl, which I was going to tell you guys about a little later in the outro. But when I came back, I checked out the UFC 181, I think it was, because 182 is this weekend. It's John Jones versus Daniel Cormier, which I'm really looking forward to. Sounds like it's going to be a dope fight. But before that, the one before 181 was Robbie Lawler and versus Little Fidel, like Joey Diaz calls him, because of his beard. And it was like, I like Lawler. Like I was rooting for Lawler. I like wanted Lawler to win the first time that they fought. And Johnny Hendricks. His name was escaping me for a second there. But I don't know. It was like a weird way that they like decided in his favor in this fight. If they would have decided in his favor in the first fight, it would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. The first fight was an epic fight. It was just like back and forth, and one had the upper hand, and then it switched to the other one, and it was just like back and forth throughout the 5 rounds. And it was much more exciting than the second fight to me. And it was just the fact that it was like so back and forth, and it was like, oh shit, Lawler's gonna take him here, he's gonna knock him out, and oh shit, Hendricks has him now, and it was just like really, really, really back and forth throughout the 5 rounds. And I could have seen a decision, which would have been controversial just by the nature of the fact that the fight was so balanced and back and forth throughout the 5 rounds, that if it went to Lawler, it could have been like, I see that. This fight, however, I didn't see it, to be honest. I didn't think Lawler did enough to win it decisively. Because normally, like when it is balanced like that, if you don't win convincingly, you don't take the title from the champion, like on a title fight. Traditionally, that's at least that's what I've seen. And obviously, I'm no like expert or anything like that. But just in my experience of like a couple years of watching several fights and stuff like that, that's what I've seen. And it's like that in boxing also, right? If you wanna beat the champ, beat him decisively. Don't let it go to the judges. That's like a common phrase used by the UFC, by Dana White, and like in all those tough shows and stuff like that. don't let it go to the judges. Win decisively. And I just personally, I don't think that Lawler did win decisively, but I am happy that he won because again I was rooting for him. But I would have liked it to have been like a more decisive victory. I guess he just like at the end where he had Robbie where he had Johnny Hendricks stunned a bit, and he just like kept going at him even after the bell, like that like aggressiveness and like passion that he had there at the end, maybe resonated with like a judge or two, and tilted in his favor. But again, throughout the fight, there was nothing that showed me, oh shit, he's taking this one. I was like, I actually throughout the fight, I was thinking, oh fuck, he's not doing as good as he did the first time around, and Hendricks is gonna keep the belt. So it was pretty surprising when they gave it to Lawler. But hats off to him, congrats, and definitely looking forward for a rubber match. I think they call it, right? The third time they fight, and seeing the outcome of that. Now this upcoming week is this weekend, January 3rd, is UFC 181, and that's John Jones versus Daniel Cormier, which is gonna be sick. Two fighters. Cormier is 11-0 or 15-0 or something like that, and Jones is like 21-1 or 20-1, and that one loss is like nobody even gives it to him as a loss. It's he got disqualified for using like an illegal elbow blow or something like that. So both of these guys are virtually undefeated, and Jones is arguably, he is the best in his division. He's had I think like 7 or 8 or something like that title defenses, and Cormier is just obviously he's a beast as well. These guys have a ton of bad blood. I think they actually capitalized on that, and that's what they're using as the sub name or a subtitle for UFC 181. It's called Bad Blood, if I'm not mistaken. Or at least that's what I've seen on a couple commercials. And I for one completely buy into the hype of it, the whole Bad Blood thing, that these guys genuinely do not like each other. Either I'm just an idiot for buying into it or whatever, but it's entertaining as fuck regardless. But these guys just go back and forth on each other, like in interviews and on social media. And they actually had a controversial press conference, like face-off kind of thing, when they were doing publicity for the fight, where they actually had a mini little brawl at one of these things, which hadn't happened before in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. And in the MGM Grand or wherever it was that they were having it, they like faced off, and John Jones put his forehead, like mushed his forehead into Cormier's, and Cormier grabbed him by the neck and like pushed him off, and then Jones just came around with like an overhand right and like punched him in the face, and then people just started swarming, and John Jones took Cormier, like knocked him down, and got on top of him, and they got separated or whatever, and they Jones after that famously like came out and said, I put you on your back in like 5 seconds or some shit like that. You're not that good at wrestling or something. It's some like fucked up shit like that, which is funny. Because Cormier's actually like a decorated wrestler. That's his background. He's like a 2-time Olympian or All-American or I don't know, some shit like that. And it was just kind of funny, but whatever. Regardless, the UFC is obviously capitalizing off that Bad Blood and named it Bad Blood, and they're going with it, which makes sense. And again, I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. It is this weekend, January 3rd. And we'll see how that one goes. I like both of them. And I think Jones will take it though. If he didn't, it wouldn't be too surprising because again, Cormier is a beast. But just Jones's reach and his ability to keep all of his opponents like at bay, um, it's just amazing. And his like unorthodox style, and he does a lot of like camera friendly shit like spinning elbows and stuff that fans like to see. Um, and yeah, I think he'll take it. But Cormier is fucking powerful, and he's just a beast, and has an undefeated record for that reason. So I'm definitely looking forward to that this weekend. And lastly, for this intro session, that I wanted to mention is the Serial podcast is has come to an end, sadly. But it was such an awesome podcast. This for those of you that just heard that, Sarah Koenig, if you're listening, which you're probably not unless you have like a next door neighbors, cousins, wives, coworkers, sisters, dog walkers, neighbor's friend that might get a message to you and let you know. That was a spuntoday.com or Spun Today podcast standing ovation to you and the Serial podcast staff. Such an awesome podcast. Again, if you guys, I've spoken about it before, so I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of it. Excuse me. But just a quick synopsis of it. It's pretty much a story of a murder that took place in Maryland in 1999, and Sarah Koenig, and her staff go deep into it and tell the story on a 12-part weekly podcast, which now obviously all of them are out, so you can like binge listen to each of them. And they just go into speaking to the ex-boyfriend, which was ultimately, what's it called? He was ultimately charged with a crime and spending life in prison. And he's been there, ever since 1999. And she has like interviews with him over the phone and interviews with the deceased's well, not with her family actually, but with all her friends and his friends. They had mutual friends. They were in the same classes and stuff in high school, and it's just awesome. Goes through police records and attorneys' records and paperwork, and just does like an amazing job of going through that story. I recommend it to everyone. It's a Serial podcast, SERIAL podcast. And the only critique I've heard of it, which honestly doesn't make sense to me, is the fact of, we know the guy's in jail, we know the outcome, so why would we listen? But honestly, I hear that, and it just really doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get it. I'm like, what? Is that, like, that doesn't, like, factor in as a response to me. Like to the question that I asked, or to the recommendation that I gave. It's like watching a movie. Like, let's see. I hate that the only thing that for whatever reason popped into my mind is The Passion of the Christ. But everybody knows the outcome of that one, right? Fucking Jesus gets nailed to the cross and dies. But it was one of the most widely watched movies of its era, or fucking of all time. I don't know, but it's definitely up there. You know what I mean? And it's not, people weren't like, oh, we know what happens. Fucking, Jesus gets nailed right in. Which, on a quick tangent, a priest actually told me that joke, that the INRI, that's on every cross, stands for I'm nailed right in. So I don't feel as bad saying that joke, because a priest actually told it to me when I was in like my first communion or some shit like that. Which is actually a good way to remember the letters, which I do not remember what the actual Latin like acronym thing is, but whatever. I remember the letters, the abbreviations. So INRI, I'm nailed right in. And but yeah, people saw that in droves and knew the outcome. So why not get into a story like this just because you know what the outcome is. And spoiler alert, it this story and the way it was portrayed, like I have like obviously this like visceral connection to podcasting in general, but I just gives you a feeling of like the possibilities like within podcasting of when applicated, I don't even know if that's a word, when put into the realm of investigative journalism and just like exposing shit, what it could actually do, like the power that it has. And it's just also like amazing just to delve into areas of the court system and the justice system in general, and investigators and detectives and like their worlds, and just seeing how all these like intertwine and work with each other and negate each other, and just how like frugal and fucked up shit can be, and how sometimes things are efficient and a lot of times how they're not, and just like being exposed to that in the way that Sarah Koenig was able to bring that out to us, to the public, through the Serial podcast. It's just amazing. And again, hats off to our standing ovation from the Spun Today podcast. Definitely looking forward for season 2, which is supposed to be coming out sometime next year. And that's pretty much it, guys, for my intro stuff. The usual, follow on Instagram and on Twitter at Spun Today. The website is spuntoday.com. Facebook, Spun Today is facebook.com/Spun Today, and all that good stuff. Now, without further ado, let's get into the free writing session of the podcast. Alrighty, I am going to go over 2 different pieces that I free wrote. Again, if you guys want to read along or anything like that, you can go to spuntoday.com. It's the 3rd tab from the top. First you have home, then the about, then the free writing section. Or just go directly to spuntoday.com/free writing. The first one that I'm going to read, if you scroll down, is a post, a blog post of October 26th, 2014. If you see at the bottom of the blue text, there's like a little tilde, and then a date and time. That's the actual date and time when I physically wrote these out. Wrote this free writing piece out in a notebook. And at the top, October 26, 2014 is the actual blog post when obviously it became live on the website. So the first one that I'm going to read is from a book, The Tools, by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels. And the quote in red is actually a quote of one of them quoting Oliver Wendell Holmes in The Voiceless. And it says, "Alas, for those that never sing, but die with all their music in them." That's the quote, and in blue, my free writing thoughts to that were, at the time, sing your song. If for no one else, do it for yourself. If for no other reason, do it for the sake of doing it. Make that what if feeling an afterthought. Get yourself to the point where it's a never was. There is something in you. There is in all of us. And not just I just fucking suck at reading. And not just one thing. It can be plenty. Hopes and desires. Goals and achievements. Can't think of any? Haven't found it yet? Look harder. Look deeper. Summon the wonderment of the child inside of you that once wanted to be an astronaut. Try different things. Challenge yourself. And do at least one thing every day that scares you, quote unquote. That's from Baz Luhrmann or something like that. I think his name is Baz Luhrmann song back in the day. Then I went on to say, you'll get it, you'll find it, or it'll find you. Self-expression wants to be expressed. No matter how trivial or grandiose your quote-unquote it might seem, jump in head first. Scratch that. Dive into the deep end, doing the cannonball. Immerse yourself in yourself and your thing, your hobby, your craft. Make it an extension of you and grow from and with it. That was written on Tuesday, October 29th, 2013 at 11:35 p.m. So that initial quote, which I'll say again, which is found in the Tools book, which is a great read by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels. They're two, I believe one was a lawyer, then became a psychologist, and the other was already a psychologist. And they wrote this book together. One was the student of the other. I forget which one is which. I apologize. But that all is becomes clear if you guys check out the book. And it's about tools. They give you a set of tools, like literally, like I think it's like 6 tools or 7 tools of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type of like steps to get out of your own way and break down certain barriers that you built for yourself in your mind, and give you like actually like practical advice that you can apply instantly right away in like multiple facets of your life. Funny story, actually, when I had just finished reading this book, I went to a comedy club to see a comedian that I like, Ari Shafir, which is the host of the Ari Shafir's Skeptic Tank podcast, which is a great listen also. I gave a review of it in the intro cast of my podcast, of this podcast, in episode 1. But his podcasts are, he usually interviews someone, I think always actually, but he has like these long intros and outros, which are pretty cool, which I've borrowed his idea from that into this podcast, and I normally do intros and outros like that as well. And then he has a guest, and like all podcasts that are unedited and bullshit free, you always go off on tangents, right? Just like this story is a fucking tangent from the free writing that I'm going over. But he normally has like a specific topic with his guests. Like he's had, like my favorite episode was one with a online poker player guy. I forget his name, but he's like a famous poker player. Doesn't just like play online. He's played like in the those like World Series of Poker and like stuff like that. And he like interviews him, and like they obviously speak specifically about poker, but obviously go off on tangents as well. But the bulk of it is on that specific topic, and they actually did it like on a beach in Mexico, and it was just like a really dope episode. He's interviewed a couple poker guys, I think maybe like 2 or 3 that I've heard, because he's into poker himself. And but this one in particular, it sucks that I can't remember the guy's name, but he like started playing online and like dabbling in it like before it got like cracked down on and it became illegal in like most states here in the United States to actually play online and for actual money. And it was before like that crackdown, and he realized like at a young age that he could actually like make money off of it, and he asked his mother for like a loan, and gave her like this presentation thing on how he knows he could actually make money if he plays like multiple tables at the same time and a certain amount of hours a day and every day and yada yada. And then his mother actually gave him, I don't remember if it was like 1,000 or 5,000 or something like that. And in one weekend he turned that into 18,000. And obviously paid her back. And it's been and he just pretty much dedicated his life to that ever since. And he's just been a professional poker player. And he speaks about his journey through that world. So that was a pretty interesting listen. But yeah, back to this free writing stuff. So when I first finished reading this book, I went to go see Ari Shaffir at I think it was at New York Stand or Stand Up New York, I think it's called. And I went with my girl, and it was cool. It wasn't like a I don't know what the format is called. But it was on a night that different comics were just doing sets, doing workout sets, as they call it, like when they're working on new material and stuff like that. And everybody does like 15 minutes or something like that. It's not like a traditional, not traditional. I don't know what it's called, but when you go to a comedy show and there's like an opener, a middling act, and then like the headliner, and he's up there for a good hour or so, or 45 minutes or whatever. It's just like a bunch of random comics, most of which you haven't heard of, that are doing like 15-minute sets, just working out material for their upcoming specials or like whatever they have going on, or just like honing their craft. That's like how they do it. So it was like on one of those nights, and it was cool. It was like a little surreal, I guess. I was like a total fanboy, because again, I'm into Ari's podcast, and I was there. He like walked right by me, took on stage, and I was like, oh shit, it's Ari. And then afterwards, I remember he went to like the comics after their set, they like go hang out at the bar or whatever, and you're in the room listening to the next comic. And I remember telling my girl, I was like, fuck man, I want to go take a picture with him, or just like introduce myself to him. I like bitched out at the end and didn't ask him for a picture or anything like that. But normally in this type of situation, I would probably just be like, fuck it, whatever, I'll ask him again some other time and not do anything. But it was right after I finished reading this book, and one of the tools in the book, just to give you guys an idea of what type of book it is or was something to the effect, I'm going to butcher it, but something to the effect of whenever you have a task or a goal that you want to achieve, that's in front of you, or just like something that you want to do, like in this case, me wanting to get up and fucking just go shake or Shafir's hand and tell him I like his shit. Picture yourself years ahead on your deathbed and looking back at your current self and telling yourself from that vantage point not to give up this opportunity that you have in front of you, to go for it, because if not, you'll regret it. And that's actually like a pretty applicable and powerful tool, I think. Because, at that moment, I remembered that. I was like, fuck, I really want to go say what's up to this dude. And just tell him that, I listen to his podcast, I'm a fan or whatever. And normally, I wouldn't. And, after reading this, that popped into my head, and I was like, fuck it, let me go. Because last thing I want is, being on my deathbed and looking back and be like, you fucking asshole, you didn't go say what's up to Ari Shaffir when you could have. And I actually did. I asked the waitress. I was like, "Oh, can you buy Ari a drink for me or something like that?" Ari Shaffir, the comic that was just up, and she looked at me like, "They drink for free here, the comics." And I was like, "Can I like buy him one anyway?" Just like a fan wanted to buy him a drink, and I'd like to send it to him or something. And she was like. And she like looked at me with like this dumb look on her face, not like a dumb look on her face, but like I'm an idiot look on her face, and she was like, he's like right over there at the bar. You know, you could just like walk up to him, right? And I was like, all right, thanks. And then after that, pretty much I like picked up my skirt and grabbed my balls and just like walked over to the bar. And then there was like a bit of a hesitation. I'm like standing there because he's having a conversation with another comic. I forget his first name, but he was really funny. Also, his last name was Gethard, which was really it resonated with me because he made fun of it himself because it's spelled Get Hard, his last name, but it's pronounced Gethard. And he spoke about how he used to be made fun of when he was younger and when he was a kid and stuff like that. And he was having a conversation with him. So Mr. Gethard, which actually I listened to a podcast with him on the mental illness happy hour, which is actually a really good podcast. Also, you guys should check that out. And that is with Paul Gilmartin. He does like a really good podcast. And Mr. Gethard was on that. So Gethard has his back to me, and Ori is kind of like facing him, so he's like facing me, where I'm like further back, and I'm pretty much standing there at the bar like an idiot. And like I want to go in, but I don't want to be rude. I want to say what's up to Ari, but I don't want to just like cut off the conversation. And I could like imagine how annoying that shit is. But at this point, Ari like notices me looking at him, and I'm like, he sees me, and I'm like kind of looking away, but like looking back at him, and doing like the whole like finger in the air, like, oh, do you have a second, like kind of thing. And he's like looking at me, like I know he notices me from like the corner of his eye, but he's kind of like, who the fuck is this weirdo? Like what's going on here? So it was like completely awkward. So then I was like, fuck it. I just like walked in and introduced myself. I excused myself and told him I was a big fan of his podcast, and they had funny sets, and I just wanted to introduce myself or whatever, and or say what's up. He was like really friendly, really cool, and he's shook my hand. Then I offered to buy them a drink, and they said no, it's all right. And I was like, all right, again, I just wanted to say that thank you for doing the podcast or whatever, and it was pretty cool. It was then I just walked back, like I just fucking conquered fucking climbing Mount Everest or some shit, just because I got over that little like mental block that I had of doing something as simple as fucking introducing yourself to another human being. And I thought it was pretty cool. And that was a direct impact from that book, where this quote is from, to my personal life. So again, that's like one of the tools is that, and there's like 5 or 6 more, and they like break down the tool for you in this book, and each one has different types of implications in your life, and they all like work like synergistically together, but obviously you can apply them individually, like in the example that I just gave you guys. And they also give examples of their clients that they've like helped with like these tools, and like specific examples of like they'll give you one tool and then give you like half a dozen different examples, where those different clients were able to apply this particular tool into practically into different types of scenarios in their respective lives. So it's pretty cool. Again, it's called The Tools, Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels. If you guys go on the spuntoday.com/free writing section, scroll down to October 26th, 2014, and click on the quote, which is in red and states, Oliver Wendell Holmes in The Voiceless, "Alas, for those that never sing, but die with all of their music in them." Click on that link, and it'll take you to the Amazon website, and you guys could directly order a copy of the tools, and it would be the same as using the Amazon banner on my contact page. It's doesn't cost you anything extra, but Amazon does kick back a couple pennies on the dollar for all of your purchases, just to help support the spuntoday.com website and podcast, and for me driving traffic towards their site. So definitely check that out if you guys want to read that. Now, the second and last free writing post that I'm going to go over for today's podcast is on a blog post from November 17th, 2014, which was actually written on Thursday, November 21st, 2013. It's titled Wonderwall by Oasis. This is from a song, which actually a shout out to a good friend of mine, Peter, that put me onto this song way back when, a very long time ago. I don't remember when the actual song came out, but I want to say he put me onto this song probably, let's see, I'm 30 now, so probably like a decade ago. I was like 20, 21, 22, like around that era. And he put me onto the song, and it's been like on my iPod or iPhone ever since. And it's a really good song. I'm actually going to end this podcast with playing this song, and it'll also be in the episode notes of the podcast if you guys want to go through that link to my iTunes affiliate link to iTunes, and purchase the song or something like that. Or for any of you guys that want to illegally download it or whatever, whatever it is you're into, the song group name and title will be in the episode notes. Now, again, it's from blog post from November 17th, 2014, and the quote that inspired me to free write from this song is in red and says, "And all the roads that lead you there are winding, and all the lights that light the way are blinding." And to that, I wrote, sorry, I wanted to take a sip of my water there. And to that, I wrote in blue underneath that, it states, "The path is there for you to take, or there's one that you need to make. Either way, there's a decision that needs to be made and a conscious effort that needs to be put forth. If and when you begin to walk your path and you're confronted with trials and obstacles, know that that's when you need to push forth with an even higher, increased, persistent determination. The path your roads take will wind in all different unexpected directions, some better than others, some even seemingly better than the initial direction you intended to go in. Which exit you take while on that road is entirely up to you. Circumstantial decisions happen only in your head. The lights on the path are the plethora of people that you'll inevitably meet. Some will blind you, maliciously to throw you off of your path for an array of justifiable, to only themselves, reasons, like wanting you to follow their path, or in a quote-unquote misery-loving company way, where they want to bring you down to either join them or because they feel they can't be up when you are, etc." Excuse me. And then it says, "Then there will be lights that illuminate the road for you, respect your path, contribute to it, and help you along. The non-malicious, blinding lights can be just as harmful, if not more. How? By distracting you. Because you're busy being a light to their respective paths. Focus on your path and the roads you need to navigate. It's completely within your ability and quite literally within your control to dim the blinding lights and tread your illuminated path." And then I ended it with a quote, which is, "When you get there, remember where you came from." Unquote. That was written on Thursday, November 21st, 2013 at 1:05 a.m. Um, and yeah, that's how I felt at that specific time. And I gotta say, I still feel that way now. Um, pretty much, going through life, at least uh, for me, I would say there's, good people, bad people, good circumstances, bad circumstances, all of which you like literally have the ability to allow to influence you or not. Um, you know, not saying everybody's omniscient and fucking all powerful and knowing and stuff like that. Sometimes, somebody close to you could turn out to be a complete snake, or somebody that you thought was a snake could turn out to be, a positive influence in your life. But it's completely on you how you let anyone affect you and your life and your goals and your passions. And it's about just taking everything with a grain of salt. I think is a good I guess prescription, for lack of a better word, for the different types of scenarios that you're gonna inevitably go through, and that I know that I'm still going through and probably will always go through. And just to take from the quote, there's a lot of winding roads. You're gonna, decide to, major in one thing in school, and then, wind up majoring in something else, and you're gonna, graduate with a degree in literature and fucking get a job as an accountant, or you know what I mean. Things might not always happen as planned, and that's where like the winding roads come into play. And then there's and that's all right. That's fucking part of the game, part of going through our respective journeys. And then there's people that can illuminate your path by lending assistance, and really being just positive influences, and no negativity, no bullshit type of people that are either there to not get in your way or to lend assistance for you in your journey of whatever it is that wherever it is that you're headed and where you want to be. And those people are obviously awesome to have around. And there's people that could lend positive or negative criticism that you might need to hear to keep yourself on your path. Then there's obviously people with malicious intent that they're one track mind, just focused on themselves and on their path, which might not be because they're bad people. They're just focused on doing their thing, and in the meantime, you fucking get run over because they're not taking anybody else's goals or journeys or paths into consideration. They're just one track mind, tunnel vision on themselves, and just be weary and know how to navigate like around people like that and situations like that in general. Just fucking cut them off and continue doing you and doing what you need to do. So yeah, that quote from the song definitely resonates with me still today, and I agree with a lot of what I wrote there back in November of 2013. That was a little over a year ago. And that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you guys think. You can comment directly on these posts on spuntoday.com/free writing. Go to each individual post. There's a comment section. You can write comments there. You can reach me through the contact page on my website, spuntoday.com/contact/donate. And write me an email through there, or just shoot me an email at spuntoday.com at gmail. spuntoday at gmail.com. And again, Wonderwall by Oasis will be the song that I'm going to play at the end of this podcast, which we're going to be wrapping up soon. So take a listen to that if you guys haven't heard it already. It's a good one. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that free writing session. Again, everything I just went over is located and found on my website, spuntoday.com/free writing. And you guys can check out the post that I went over today, along with others in that section there. Like I stated earlier in the intro, I went on vacation recently with my girl to Dominican Republic. I went to visit her father and other family and friends over there that she'd had, and then my family as well. And then we hung out, had finished off our trip at a resort, and we had an awesome time. She's actually, now I'm glad to say, my fiance, which happened on that trip. And it was definitely a great experience that we had. And actually, during the trip, I did actually record some podcasting with her, and not some podcasting, just recording some conversation. And don't know if it'll ever be released as a podcast. We'll see if we could get the fiance to sign off on the non-existent spuntoday.com podcast release form, and maybe release that one day. But we did do some recording at like a dinner that we had, a romantic dinner on the beach, and also while we were like driving around DR. It was a bit of a road trip within destinations, because like her family's in one town, which is like 2 hours away from the town that my family lives in. So we had some road trip time, which was pretty cool. And then from where my family lived to where the resort was like another like 3.5 hour drive, which was really cool. Like a foreign country, and just driving around like the coast, like next to the beach, and it was just awesome. The weather was great. It was like 85 degrees like the entire time that we were there, and I think it rained once on a day that I was sick in bed anyway with like food poisoning, which is a whole story in and of itself. But yeah, during the trip, I actually took a lot of pictures with the website in mind. Took a bunch of pictures for the website, and on a camera that actually broke on the trip, unfortunately, my camera. So I'll probably be in the market for one soon, and until then, I'll probably continue taking pictures with like my iPhone and give you guys some shittier quality pictures in the meantime. But I will be posting a bunch of pictures that I was able to salvage from the camera, because they were stored on the SD card, and I was able to save them. Excuse me, and I'll be posting them on the website very soon. Definitely, maybe even by the time this podcast is released. Well, probably not, because we're gonna be busy with like New Year's and stuff like that in the family. Getting ready for that in about 3 days. But definitely, by the time the next podcast comes out after this one, all those pictures will be posted. Got some good ones there. And that's pretty much it, guys. I wanted to direct you guys also to the Amazon banner and PayPal donation banner on my contact/donate page on the website, spuntoday.com. Again, you can click on the Amazon banner. It'll take you to the Amazon's website. It does not cost you anything extra at all to do your shopping, but Amazon does kick back a few pennies on the dollar to me in support of the podcast, just for driving traffic towards their website. So if you want to support the podcast, you can do that, or you can literally just give PayPal donations if you're feeling that generous through the donate tab on the spuntoday.com/contact/donate page. And another free way for you guys to support the podcast is to rate and review on iTunes and on Stitcher. Podcast is available on both iTunes and Stitcher. Just go on there, give it a rating, give it a review. Word of mouth is huge in this type of medium. Tell your friends about it, your cousins, your fucking people that you hate. If you think that the podcast sucks and you want to give them something shitty to listen to, and just spread the word. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Twitter and Instagram is at Spun Today, SPUN Today. And Facebook is facebook.com/Spun Today. And happy holidays again to you and yours, and a prosperous new year. This podcast will be coming out on Thursday, which is the new year. So happy new year to you guys today. By the time you guys listen to this, I'm recording on Sunday the 28th, and it will be released on Thursday on schedule. And just a happy and prosperous new year. Let's all make this the year where we actually keep some of those resolutions that we're going to be making, and make it a good one. Whether it's something big, something small, whatever it is, just take steps in the general direction of whatever it is that's on your mind that you want to do, something that you always put off to, when I turn this age, I'll do it, or after I get married, I'll do it, or after I move out on my own, I'll do it, or, after I get a better job, I'll, sign up to this gym or to those martial arts classes or whatever the fuck it is, just fucking find a way to do it cheaper if you're setting obstacles up in your mind that are financial, which I know I do a lot, and I used to do a lot more of, I want to do this, but I want to do it with the right equipment. And like, for example, like the whole podcasting thing, I put it off for a while because I wanted to have like the proper setup and all that shit, which I have an awesome setup now. Again, shout out to the roomie Raul and my sister-in-law Julie and my girl fiance, Soyla, for this cool setup that I have now. But again, I decided, fuck it, I want to do it, let me just start doing it. And I literally started doing it on my iPhone, which I already had, and on a free fucking recording program. And you guys could do the same thing, whatever the fuck it is, something minute, like, which might not be minute to you, but, I'm just thinking of like a random example of fucking, you want to learn how to play a song on a guitar or something like that, but you don't have a guitar. Fucking take your ass to Sam Ash and rent one or buy one, or fucking find a creepy dude on Craigslist that'll sell you a fucking cheap guitar, and sign up for lessons, or fucking buy a cheap guitar, borrow one or rent one or whatever, and YouTube some videos and fucking teach yourself how to do it. You know what I mean? Just let's make this year fucking year where we actually stick to some of the shit, at least, that we say that we're going to. I know I'm definitely going to try to, and all you guys should also. And as always, guys, substitute the mysticism with hard work and start taking steps in the general direction of your dreams. Thanks for listening.
Today is gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you. By now you should have somehow realized what you gotta do. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Backbeat, the word is on the street that the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never